Hey y'all, in this video we're going to take a look at the standard SQL Server function RTRIM. Now this guy is used in a couple of different ways. One, it can just be used to help to format and align things for output. The other, and probably more popular way that comes up a lot in business, is to use it to clean up data. So you may have names, for example, that have trailing spaces or some sort of pattern on the end of a string that needs to be basically removed. And we're going to do that. I'm going to show you a couple real world examples in this video. Let's get to work. So the number one place that I found that I've needed to use RTRIM over and over again is when I'm working with a list of names. So first name, last name, that's either come import into a database from a spreadsheet or come from some sort of application that was gathering first and last name, and there being extra spaces added onto, like for example, the end of the first name. So if we look at this data set that it's a customer data set, and I execute it, and I look at these names, everything sort of looks okay when I just look at the columns separately. But let's go behind the scenes just a little bit and look at the actual data as it sits in the database. So if you look at this Orlando, you'll notice that the cursor sits out here a little bit extended to the right of the last character in the string Orlando. What those are spaces, right? Keith has a bunch of them, Donna a couple, and then Janet looks good. So what can we do to fix this? Well, one idea would be to cleanse the data, right? Get in there, either run some sort of update statement or manually correct the data so you don't have those extra spaces. But sometimes we can't do that. We don't have access to production, or we receive the data from someone and now it's sitting in our database. It's our job to either fix the output or correct the data. What we can do is use this RTRIM, and it works quite nicely, and it's pretty easy actually. So if at first, let me show you what this looks like if we don't use the trim and I output the data, right? Look at the spaces between Orlando and Guy, Keith and Harris. That's not good for anybody. The users are going to take a look at that and they're going to be like, what are you doing? This is a mess, right? So we want to fix that. How do we fix it? We use the RTRIM. RTRIM is easy. You just say RTRIM and you put brackets or parentheses around either a variable or a column name. And in this case, we're going to RTRIM the first name, we're going to RTRIM the last name, and then we're going to put this, we're actually going to put a space between the first and last name like we would normally do and expect. And if we execute that, oops, I just had one thing highlighted, did not like that. If I execute it, I get a very nice trimmed column. The users are going to see exactly what they expect, and you've done a great job as a data analyst. Now, that was my main use case, but even in doing this video, I learned more about RTRIM, even in looking at the documentation, and that you can actually remove a pattern from a string on the right side. And I've got a little script set up over here, and if we just look at the string that I've set up, I've got one variable in here. I've assigned it this string, which is my name, and trust me, that's not my social security number. I just made up numbers. I hope it's nobody's social security number. But basically, we get this string output. Now, in my use case, I want only the name, right? So how can I do that, right? Using RTRIM. Well, you can actually use RTRIM to look for a pattern starting all the way on the right, and as it finds a pattern, it will start pulling it away and just give you what's left. So I want to show you, and I'm going to give you some ways that it doesn't work so that you can understand and comprehend well how it does work. If I just say RTRIM, and then this is my string, and I put like a number in there like 7, there's a 7 I want removed, but when I execute this, it's not going to grab that 7 because it starts on the right, all the way on the right, and works its way this way. So let me put in a 0 and a 7 and execute it. Ooh, now it caught the 0, pulled it off, but I've still got all the others, and I've got an 8 and a 5 to get rid of before I get to the 7. So let's just put those in, 5 and an 8, and execute it. Again, more than probably you would need, but I want you to see how this guy works. And then it gets to a dash, all right? Execute it, right? Now it needs a 4. Well, what we really should have done from the very beginning is just say, look for any number 0 through 9 and a dash, and if you find it, remove it. When we put that in this function, oh, I missed that, needs to be a 9. It goes through, starting on the right, it looks through for 0 through 9, it looks for a dash, and it starts trimming. Ooh, I came to an S, stop. That's exactly what we want. We've got just the name on the output. I hope this video was super helpful to you. May you have a great day and God bless.